Hey everyone, I am Zen Big, this is Auto Group, and this is the 2018 Lexus RX350L. Now while it looks exactly like an RX350 almost, this one comes with a third row, that's why it's called the L. So it's a little bit more expensive. You can't get this in the F Sport trim, but you can get this in a full luxury package like this one, which is $57,000. That may seem a lot, but this, since this shares the same platform as the Highlander from Toyota, this car, a lot of people are disappointed that it's the the big seller for Lexus, that it doesn't have a third row. So they added that finally for the 2018 model year. I really like the trim on the outside of this car. All the chrome accenting goes very nice with the black, and I love these rims. They could be a little brighter and a little bit more shiny. That would make them look better, but it's not a problem at all. I really like the shape, and especially when we go up to the front, I want to show you the way the chrome goes at all over the border of the spindle grille, which makes it look very, very good. And of course, it's a luxury car, so it has to look good inside and out. And inside, it has white seats with a walnut, like burl walnut wood type. Inside, it has like a black/white interior. It's got a lot of black material on the outer edge, and then where you rest your arms, it's all white with some cool stitching. It has chrome accenting over here. It doesn't look the most expensive interior, but it's very nice and clearly laid out, and I like the driver focus that the interior kind of has towards that. And of course, the screen looks awesome. I really like that the wood trim, especially on the steering wheel with this black. I would prefer this car with a black interior because the wood goes nice. I feel like it's dark on dark, that looks very cool on the inside. And anyways, these ones, they're not chrome door handles for $57,000. I don't get why. They should really be chrome to go with the rest of the car. But anyways, of course, this is an SUV. This is a unibody. This is not your truck-based chassis like a body on frame like from the GX or the LX from Lexus. So this is obviously your more user-friendly on-the-road SUV that most people tend to buy. It's a crossover SUV. So especially if you get this car in a silver or white, that pillar style looks very cool. And over in the back, of course, like, you can almost not tell that this car is any different from the normal RX, except for one thing, is that the normal RX has a garnish and exhaust over here, but since they extended the car, the exhaust went under the body, and over here it's just like this chrome, cool little diffuser type design. It looks cool, and the cool thing about SUVs is all the practicality. That's what's important. Now, since this is an SUV, you got sport, utility, and vehicle. Obviously, it's a vehicle. I mean, it's a vehicle. And then sport, which is the S in SUV. We're gonna have to figure that out when we get out on the road. I know this has a sport mode, but since this is the RX350L, you don't get a Sport Plus like you would in the F Sport trim. That also gives you a different grille and different rims and a different look front to back. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the interior. And of course, since you don't want to look weird getting in and out of your SUV, since it's a little taller than your sedan, you have a little footboard over here, which is nice and supportive. And of course, you can just stand on it. It's very secure. I really like that. And it goes nice with the design. It's a little bulging out because it's not one of the ones that go back inside, to keep that normal SUV design. But it doesn't matter. I like it. You can get in without it too if you're tall. And then getting in and out is very nice and comfortable. So, couple complaints I have before we get to the good parts about the car is that standard across all non-F Sport Lexus cars, there's the same gauge cluster. And let me just turn it on. It's the same. It looks good. I don't have a complaint, except for the fact that it's not unique to a $60,000 car. It's the same unless you go with the F Sport, which gives you the singular one in the center. Otherwise, another big gripe is that you don't get stitched a top dashboard, except for a little bit over here and a little bit above over here. But in the GS, you get leather padding. This is kind of like a fake leather, faux leather, soft touch plastic. This feels okay, but I really wish it had some stitching up there. Other thing, the whole bottom part, I think they did this because it gets scuffed and dirty, especially when your kids are going in and out. So it's plastic down here, which is okay. It's not too bad, but at least where you're, normally touching, it's all nice material. And of course, you got that beautiful wood. Steering is, of course, electric power assist steering wheel, so it's very light at low speeds. This car also has all your nannies that you want, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot monitoring, you know, park assist, automatic braking, you know, pre-collision warning system. That stuff is all cool. You got Bluetooth, of course, push to talk and everything. These are the same steering wheel controls, and it literally is the same steering wheel that is found in the majority of Lexus vehicles. This changes up when you get the F Sport. You get perforation on the 9 and 3 areas mainly, unless you go with the full out F car, or you know, something like an RX350L Sport where you get more perforation over the steering wheel. So anyways, this is the same gear shifter, you know, 8-speed automatic transmission in this car. Moves very fluid. You also got your brake hold, which is another option in this car. You got an awesome analog clock from Lexus. It's Lexus's own. It's not borrowed from another company like Mercedes AMG uses IWC, or other companies, you know, use like Breitling or other companies. And over here for the infotainment system, it's a 12.3-inch display. Looks very nice. Right now it's at a darker mode, but once you really get going with the settings, you get pretty easily like set up to this. It's the same joystick. I love this joystick. I know that might sound like shocking to some people who don't like it and like the new mouse pad. I personally think that the trackpad is easier because it has way more resistance, whereas the mouse pad, you know, you can move over your hand. It vibrates a little bit, but I don't like it. I find it very hard to use compared to this system. And if you go on display, if you go to day mode, it gets way brighter. As you can see, now the map is all white, and you know, and when if you want to go to night mode, or when you turn off day mode, then it gets darker so your eyes don't burn up. And then if you go to setup, this is what a lot of people don't know. If you go over to general, scroll down, and if it's moving too fast for you, you could just set up the resistance. And now we're at full, so now it gets tighter. All that does is make it more resistant to your movement, so it gets, you know, easier to select between things, and you don't jump over a lot of things, which is really cool. And other than that, you know, this is just what you get in the interior. I really wish there were a couple more features. Maybe I would like more leather used on the actual interior. I mean, there is a lot of good material, but then when you come down to the climate controls, this is all plastic, and then this one, it feels plasticky. Well, it should be more like aluminum, which is what you should get actually. But you know, it's not a big deal because this is more of a practical car. It's not a fully your luxury car like like the GS that we reviewed last time, which was more focused towards performance and luxury. So other than that, let's go check out, of course, the back seats and the third row and the trunk space, and let's see what this car has to offer considering it's an SUV. Alright, so especially looking at the side profile of a car, when you increase 4 or 5 inches like the designers did for the L to add the third row seat and get space in the back for kids, you might think it would look very different compared to last year's RX350, but it nearly looks exactly the same. You cannot tell unless you look at that garnish, the diffuser type thing that they added in the back bumper, or you're really some sort of expert that you measured the exact like, you know, how do you know if the pillar is different or not between the two RXs? And the thing that the reason why that's absolutely fantastic is because the E-Class from Mercedes-Benz used to have a very bland normal interior up until last year, when boom, they added those 2 screens, and everybody the year before who got the normal interior were like, oh man, now we want the E-Class, the new one with the better interior. This has the exact same interior, a third row, and the same design, nearly the same design except for that little bumper thing. So anybody who bought the normal one, don't worry about it. This car looks exactly the same from the outside. Anyways, power tailgate, of course, you know, you hit it to turn it down and up. And inside you have a lot of interesting controls. So back over here in the third row, you actually have a digital climate control system, which is absolutely awesome, and you have electronic controls for your seat to fold, which is absolutely cool. So just because, in case you don't know, since your car is so similar to the normal one, it tells you here that this is the third seat, so you could lift them up, and let me demonstrate that for you. Also, you got your first aid kit from Lexus, and it has a little Lexus badge. Of course, you know, anybody who buys it should be pretty proud about their first aid kit in there. Okay, you also got a cargo net. Before we get started, I forgot to mention that. And of course, you get these Lexus RX specific mats, so they're not only Lexus, you got the boom RX. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the third row seats. Wow, that's actually really cool. I didn't know before we started the review. I just found out 5 minutes ago that you can electronically raise and lower the third row seat. That's absolutely crazy. Do we have to hold it, or can I let it go? What the? Okay, you have to hold it. Look at that. That's so cool. And then you got a little LED light over there in case at nighttime you're coming to look at something. And so as you can expect, now that the seats are up, there's not really a lot of space in the trunk. Maybe I can somehow get these carpet thingies in. Yeah, I got it. Boom. There you go. Okay, so you can fit it. Let's see if we can close it. Fine. Perfectly fine. Everything worked out now. Let's go ahead and sit in it. Alright. So, now we gotta move down the second row in order to access the third row. And those aren't electronic controls. Okay. I don't think this is a good idea, but I can actually fit, yeah, I can fit back here, kinda. Let's turn on some more lights here. Boom, now it's nice and bright. You know what, I wasn't expecting that I could actually kind of fit in here, but of course the headrest is poking me in my lower back, which is horribly uncomfortable, but I still have a little bit of headroom considering I am 6'2", and this is meant to be for children. And I'm not children. So anyways, let's go on the drive. And I don't really drive SUVs, so this is a big change. So right now this is on normal mode, and I love the way the car feels. I mean, it's just so light on its feet, you know, 295 horsepower. That's absolutely fantastic in my opinion for this car. It's a naturally aspirated V6. You know, we didn't get to talk about that because you don't talk about a lot of those things when it comes to an SUV, but this car is totally capable. Alright, so I'm gonna slow it down right now because conditions do not permit, and neither does the whole new car, you know, not broken in period. So I really don't want to affect how the car should drive normally. But man, I love the way the steering just drops in weight drastically when you gotta do something like at a low speed. But then at a higher speed, of course, it gets heavier. Now there is a bit of the gap, there's a little numbness in the gas pedal, but you know that's totally fine because this is in normal mode. So of course, since this is an SUV, of course we're gonna have to put it into sport. Boom. It says sport on the thing, infotainment system. So it has a lot more performance when it comes to the sport mode, and you can definitely feel it change. I love that about this car. This is one of the rare cars I've driven from Lexus where the car totally changes up in these modes. And the weight, oh my god, the steering is actually stiff now. I mean, it's not the same, you know. Let's throw it in the manual, drop it a couple gears. You can have a lot of fun with this car, you know. It's not one of those cars that's really slow on pickup, which is cool. And the brakes are super sensitive, which is good. But you know, it's not something ideal always in a car, to, you know, it sometimes makes it jumpy. Man, this leather steering wheel, the leather is so pure in Lexus cars. I love that. They don't cheap out on the steering wheel leather, and some of the door panel leather that they've had in the past has also been great. Sometimes in the seat, you know, when these companies add new lux or something, I don't like that. But, you know, or else it's totally great. Took it a second to downshift, but once you really get going, it just goes. And it has a top connected pedal, a bottom connected pedal, sorry. So that makes it really fun. And it's very light on its feet, considering this is all-wheel drive. It's heavy, and of course it's an SUV. You don't expect an SUV to be sports car light or anything, but, or else, I mean, totally, this car is fun. I love the way it just holds itself in a turn, you know? That's very nice. And the body roll is so minimalistic, and so many people ignore Lexus as, you know, a performance brand or anything, but when they hide it in a car, you know, like they have in this car, considering this is not even the F Sport, you can feel it. Like, you can feel that Lexus really tunes their cars these days to be different from what everybody likes to say about them, and that's what's really awesome about this car. It's such a difference from how the company was back in 2010 to how they've really changed up their cars right now. Alright, so now in order to test the turning capabilities of the car, let's go ahead and, yeah, I mean, it's pretty stable. I love that about this car. You can really get on it when you have to, and then the brakes are super sharp, so it goes very nice. I honestly love the brakes. They're so good. They're a little twitchy in the start when you don't know what you're doing, but, you know, this is my first time driving the car, so I didn't know how they would be. And now if you're in places like I am with right now, if you put it to normal, then the gears shift up to save you a little bit of gas, and so you don't always feel jumpy on the gas pedal, which is cool. But also, I mean, it's so capable, and I love the way the steering wheel, the electric power assist gets tighter and tighter. You know, that's really cool about this car. Overall, the time with the 2018 RX350L from Lexus has certainly been awesome, because this car looks almost the exact same as the RX350, so nobody's disappointed if they get the two-row normal one. And then this car, in $57,000, gets all-wheel drive, heated and cooled seats, semi-aniline leather seats, of course full leather upholstery everywhere, navigation, Mark Levinson sound system. It's all a great package overall. You get sport, eco, and normal mode also to have a little bit more fun. Pop it into sport. If you want to save gas, pop it into eco. My preferred mode is sport, because this car is absolutely awesome. And then it's got some cool trick features in opening the trunk. So yeah, if you put your hand over the Lexus emblem, it has a sensor in it hidden, just like the radar cruise control is up front. So you can open that without having to press a button, which is really cool. And then of course you got your electronic controls, not some latches. You have electronic controls to pop down your seats in the third row. And I somehow fit back in there. So overall, I think Lexus has done a great job. This car feels nimble out on the road. The brake response was very sharp. So it had the sport, it covered the utility with the third row, and of course this is a vehicle. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Auto Group. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos every week, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Hey everyone, I'm Zen Big. This is Auto Group. Hey, थोड़ा सा पीछे जाओ ताकि ना चीखे इसको. It has a lot of nice like फिर से
वो बहुत तेज हो रहा था.
सब हो रहा था बहुत तेज. फिर से शुरू से तो नहीं ना.
हाँ.
It has a lot of nice chrome trim all over the car, and I really prefer like a black on black car. This one on the outside, while it is black, inside it has white seats inside. I really like the chrome on the outside. It's a black color, and color kyun keh diya? Excellent. Let me show you a couple other cool things. So this is the floating pillar. So this is the floating pillar. You can't really tell because it's black on the outside, but this is like they tried to go with a floating pillar-esque design over there, especially if you get this color in a car